Are you feeling burned out? Are you feeling stressed as if you could be heading towards burnout? We all feel stress at some time, so I want to give you 9 hacks and hints that will help you avoid burnout, and if you're there, it may make your life a little bit easier. Obviously, these are hints and tips that you can use in your everyday life, and it means that you're not going to be self-medicating on chocolate or wine. So I'll see you in a moment. Burnout is an emotional reaction to prolonged periods of stress, particularly work stress. It exhibits itself in depersonalization, cynicism, and inefficacy, so you feel worthless and hopeless. Now, the simple view would be to change your job or to change the environment, and that's not always going to be possible. So what we need to do is to learn to manage our symptoms of stress so that we don't head into burnout. So what I want to do now is to give you some simple stress management tools that you can apply to yourself that will help relieve those day-to-day pressures. Self-management to enable your stress relief is a very personal thing. But one of the problems with stress in the workplace, and certainly one of the contributory factors to burnout, is that feeling that you have no control. So set yourself some time boundaries. It's very difficult in today's world. We are expected to answer emails over the dinner table and be constantly on the phone, voice calls, text calls, all of the day. So setting yourself some boundaries as and when you can is a hugely important thing. Now, this depends on your job, your situation, your work environment, but I've got it down to twice a day in terms of checking my emails. Yes, I do get an email box full of stuff, but people have learnt that I usually check it first thing in the morning and last thing at night. Now, obviously what I do then is respond to the important and urgent things straight away, and the others I can take my time to respond to later. Now, most people have learnt that this is how I operate, and if they need to get hold of me for another reason, there are lots of other ways of doing this. So if you can take some of that pressure away from your environment, depending on your job, that might help you a lot. If you don't feel that you have to constantly answer the phone or your emails all of the time, that's going to put you in control of your time. Now, you might need to do something like put an email footer that says you only answer emails 2 or 3 times a day, or you may need to let colleagues know that you've got new boundaries and you won't be available for a period of time. But setting those time boundaries is actually an important start, and it will allow you to focus on other tasks that may well be causing you stress because you feel that you can't control your time and your environment, etc. So try it. It works for me. If it's something that you can do, it may well work for you. Get good sleep. Now, doctors recommend 7 to 9 hours a night, not a week, and I know I've fallen into this category. Feeling that you can reduce the amount of time you sleep will give you more time in the working day to get things done. This is a typical stress reaction. The challenge is, of course, if you don't get good sleep, then the work you do will take you longer and you will not be as productive. So I know it's very difficult, and particularly if you're feeling stressed, you may not sleep that well. You may not be able to get the rest that you need. But 7 to 9 hours a night is important if you are in a stressful situation. You know, it's not because you're working hard. Working hard when we enjoy something is totally different, and yes, you will go to bed exhausted but happy, and you may even wake up excited to start the day again. But if you are in a stress situation, if you're heading towards burnout, one of the best things you can do for your mind and your body is to be able to find a way to switch off. Maybe have a relaxing bath before bedtime. That changes the body temperature and the body chemistry, and that will actually help you get a good night's sleep. It may be that you need to read a book before going to sleep to switch your mind off. Make sure that you don't have electronic devices around you. That blue light's not going to help at all. So there are all sorts of things that you can do to help aid your sleep. Make sure that you do have a short period of time between work and bedtime. So 7 to 9 hours a night may seem a lot, and if you're living life and loving it to the full, it could be you don't need that. But if you're in a stress situation, if you're heading towards burnout, I strongly recommend that you allow that extra time for sleep, and it takes care of you that way. Exercise is good for you, laziness is not. Now, we are all constantly told we should exercise for all sorts of health reasons, but putting that aside, exercise actually lifts your mood. It's a biological chemical reaction, so when you are moving about, your endorphins rush through your body and it makes you feel an awful lot better. Exercise will also help improve your sleep patterns, and it's a time that is just for you. So exercise can be a really important part of self-care. If you can make it a priority, guess what? You're prioritizing yourself, and that sends a different message to the brain as well. Now, I am not suggesting that you need to become a long distance runner or a gymnast in your lunch hour. That's just not feasible, but you do need to consider moving your body that bit more. Anyway, but the point being, you can take a walk maybe at lunchtime. I've said previously, one of the things I do at least twice a day is take my dog Puddles for a walk. I love being outside in the fresh air and getting back to nature. Even if it's pouring down with rain, she and I can have a good old gossip about what's going on at work. That kind of exercise is something that is easy to do and to incorporate into your daily life. Now, I mention that because yes, Puddles and my walking could be seen as another pressure, another add into an already crammed day. But take it as time for yourself. It's something you're doing for you. There are tons of online classes. I've recently taken up yoga. I am terrible at it. If you want to see me do a video of that just for sponsorship, we'll maybe go there. But there are things that you can do that won't take a huge amount of money and they won't take a huge amount of time. But getting that blood flowing will help you mentally and physically, and it will make you much more prepared to endure stress. And if you're in a stress situation, what we need to do is we need to make sure that we have as many tools available for us to cope as possible. I want to talk to you now about meditation. This is something you probably love or hate. There's very little grey area with this one. It's either something you do or something you don't do. Now, I try to meditate. I'm on that journey because I know it's good for me. It's not something that comes naturally to me. But being able to switch your brain off, your mind off, even for a few moments during a busy day can help enormously. It can help give you some kind of perspective. Now, yes, if you have the opportunity, go on a spa day, go off and meditate in some beautiful country surroundings with water flowing, rocks and hills. But that's not the kind of meditation most of us get the opportunity to do every day. Simply being able to shut the door to a quiet, peaceful room and take 5 minutes with your eyes closed, focusing on your breathing, may just give your mind that break that it needs. Hell, if you're sat in your office or your workplace, being able to just slow down, count your breaths, close your eyes and focus entirely on you for those few moments may well give you that change of perspective that you're seeking. Meditation is about a refreshment for the mind. We can't all go for a long sleep in the middle of the day, and we can't necessarily go off and weightlift and do a long distance run. But for most of us, we can find just 5 or 10 minutes to focus entirely on nothing but us. So try to clear your mind, try to think purely of your breathing and of the space around you and of what you can hear and what you can feel, you know, your bum on the chair, rather than thinking about those problems, those stresses that are whizzing around in your mind. There are lots of online meditation techniques and helps that can help you. There are a lot of great yoga practitioners locally to you. I know this, and they can help with meditation, and if you've got a spiritual side, that as well. But take those few minutes of time to focus purely on your peace and your energy. It will help, I promise. Try to create some personal space in your work environment that's just for you. Now, if you're working alone in your office on your own business, or you've got your own office because you're in a management position, this is going to be an awful lot easier. But for so many people, their work environment is just not appropriate. You could be driving a bus, you could be a farmer, or you could be, a fireman. And creating personal space at work can be difficult. Now, obviously, most of us have to answer the phone and answer our communications. But if you're in a really noisy office environment, I didn't drink the wine, I promise, then finding some space for you can be difficult. Maybe you should invest, if it's appropriate for you or for your boss, in some noise cancelling headphones just for when you're working on that report or when you want to concentrate. I'm sure that won't mind if it helps you get a sense of control and completion. Obviously, you'll be able to see your phone ringing and you'll be able to answer your emails and do all of the other things. But if it blocks out that background chatter, then that can only be a good thing. Now, I know I have personal experience of this. Actually, it's not me that has the headphones, it's other people who've worked with me in the past, because I can speak out loud at the most inappropriate times. Yeah, I'm one of those people who think out loud and read out loud. So for them, having noise cancelling headphones is a huge bonus. Now, it doesn't actually matter if it's silence that you crave. You could have anything on there in terms of music, from Bach to Beyonce. As long as it's creating that little bubble for you, it's going to help you concentrate, and helping you concentrate will help those endorphins in your body feel that you have control of the situation. Yes, it's all about your efficacy, and it's all about taking control. We can't necessarily decide what we want to do each day, but we can decide how we want to do it. So the next hint that I have, and a lot of people are going to groan here, is tidy up. Make your workspace as personal to you as possible, but a calming environment is often one that doesn't have the noise of junk or other projects or stuff that you're not doing in front of you at any given time. No wonder you're getting stressed when you're working on thing A if you have the rest of the alphabet stacking up beside you. Now, I say people are groaning because people know that I'm a bit of a minimalist. I like a simple, clean space, and that's exactly why. Yes, I can be a bit of a butterfly and get distracted, no problem at all. So for me, creating a space whereby I don't have any distractions, but I feel comfortable, is hugely important. So tidy that space. Make it about the work you're doing just now. Remove any obstacles that you possibly can. Again, it depends on your environment. Maybe have a family photo out so that you can remind yourself as to why you're doing this. Or perhaps if you're looking for some more motivation, that great holiday that you're working towards, or that brand new car, that might be something that you want to look at on your desk on a regular basis. But yes, tidy up what you can so that you are less distracted. Not looking at the things that are causing you stress will, guess what, help relieve that stress. We can all only do one thing at once. Yes, even as ladies, we can only do one thing at once well anyway. So concentrate on the thing in hand and make sure you're not distracted unnecessarily in your space. Yes, tidy up. I got to say it, tidy up, because it's something that I love. Might help you too. So reduce the amount of decisions you have to make on a regular basis. Okay, this is quite a popular subject just now, and it's certainly something I want to get into in another video. It's something called decision fatigue. Now, we all have to make choices all of the time, all day, all life. Okay, so it could be something as simple as what you're going to watch on TV, what you're going to wear for work, what lunch you're going to have, let alone the route you're going to drive to work, how you're going to get the kids to school, etc., etc. We all have a huge number of decisions that we take on a daily basis, and a lot of them, yes, we can automate. For example, have you ever arrived at a destination and not remembered getting there? That's a different story. Now, if we can reduce some of the decisions that we don't need to make and therefore concentrate on the decisions that are important in our lives, this will help reduce stress. It's called decision fatigue for a reason. So if you can have the same lunch every day. It stops you having to decide what lunch to take. If you can have a business outfit of sorts, you can wear the same thing pretty much every day. Trust me, ladies, I know I want to do my hair differently. I want to wear a different shirt and different shoes. But in all honesty, most people don't notice, because guess what? They're focusing on their problems and themselves. So if you can actually take away some of these small decisions that you have to make on a regular basis, I don't know, do all your lunches on a Sunday for the rest of the week. It will take away one of those decisions. Decide as a family what you're going to eat for the rest of the week for the 7 days, and make sure that you're not having to decide on the way home from work. Little decisions that you do on a regular basis soon add up, and that can make you stressed and tired. And if you had a really long day, or you're about to go into an amazing presentation, what you don't want to be worrying about is what colour socks the kids are going to be wearing, or whether you need to take the car to the garage to get it fixed that evening. Plan ahead as much as possible. Now, I'll give you two really, well, I think they're really good examples, but then I wouldn't I? The first is Barack Obama. Not going to talk politics here, but he wore throughout most of his presidency either a grey or a blue suit, and all of his shirts and ties could go with either. This means that in the morning he didn't need to decide which tie, which suit he's going to wear today. And I'm hoping that the old leader of what was the free world at that point had better things to think about than what shoes to put on. To the fact that he once wore a beige linen suit, I think it was, and it was commented on by the press because that was so out of character. But that's a great way of making sure that you can just get up and go. The other person that did that, and I know he has had an awful lot of admirers, is Steve Jobs. Now, you can look at photos from him from 20 years way back to just before he died, and guess what? He's wearing a black shirt and he's wearing blue jeans. Yeah, he does change his shoes, but he didn't have to think every morning what he was going to wear. Now, I'm not suggesting that you turn up at your sister's wedding in your work outfit, and I'm not suggesting that you don't need appropriate clothing to play sports. What I'm saying is maybe take those decisions that you don't need to do, those little tiny decisions, make them, put them in a box, and concentrate on some really important stuff. Use some productivity tools. There are tons of tools available out there now to help us with our lives, let alone our work. I would suggest being careful, because I never knew I was sleep deprived till a machine told me so, and that then made me worry about the quality and quantity of my sleep, and that set off a whole new cycle. But there are some things that I do that I find really helpful, and I'm sure within your industry, within your space, there are tools that you can use that will help your productivity. So for example, I've got a video on Trello. I love Trello. I've actually been using it for about 18 months now. I find that it helps me in all sorts of aspects of my productivity, and if I need to share information about what's going on, it's really easy to do. There's also Hootsuite and Sprout Social and Loomly if you're wanting to do scheduling stuff, and if you're one of those people that needs to collect lots and lots of information, there's things like Evernote. Now, I could list tons of these. All you have to do is go into apps on your phone, and there are gazillions of them. Little things like putting all your store cards, for example, on your phone rather than carrying them around. There are tons and tons of productivity tools out there. It's about finding those stress points for you and finding something that helps you achieve it much better and takes away some of the stress. Now, obviously, there's going to be a learning curve while you learn how to use these tools, but in the long run, if you can get yourself set up with some kit that helps you out on a daily basis, then that's got to be good for you. So yes, look at some productivity tools, look what works for you, look what works in your business and with family and friends, and then apply those tools to your business and make them work for you. Outsource, delegate, stop. Yeah. it's going to be difficult. And I know when you're in a stress situation, trying to get this kind of mental insight is going to be difficult. So I'm telling you, outsource, delegate, stop. Not everything has to be done by you. Certainly not now. Life's moved on an awful lot. I think it was Peter Drucker that said, what happens if I don't do this thing? If you don't do this, what's going to happen? Now, we all understand the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. 80% of our revenue comes from 20% of our customers. 20% of our workload causes more stress than the other 80% of it. And obviously what we need to do where we can is to focus on the 20% that's going to get us the results. Sometimes work becomes habitual. You do things because you think you have to do them, and things don't actually need to be done at all. For example, if you've set up your own business, you set up this business, you're all very excited, and a few months down the line, let alone a few years down the line, how you operate may have changed significantly, and you may have practices and operations in that business that are actually not needed any longer. Or if they are needed, they may need refining, or do they have to be done by you? There are lots of outsourcing tools that can help you these days. You can get virtual assistants, you can use Fiverr. There are tons of things that can help you, not have to do all of the work. Now, obviously, if it's your job to do the work, that's a situation. And if you're an entrepreneur and you haven't got any money to start off with, then you're going to need to look at that as well. But there are things that you can do. You can go to your boss and you can talk about the priorities that you actually have. And if there is anybody you can delegate some of the stuff to, even in the short term. And if you're an entrepreneur, you can rope in family and friends, even if it's just for a short period of time. But take a look at the stuff you're actually doing, because I tell you what, you go on a holiday for 2 weeks, you don't do the stuff, and you come back, nothing's been done, but the world hasn't ended. So it's something to think about. It's a really good lesson. So those are my hints and tips in order to help remove some of the stresses in your lives. Some you will be able to apply easily and instantly. Others you will need to think about and talk about with colleagues, family or friends. But there are things that we can do ourselves. We need to manage ourselves and how we interact and react with the world, because it's about how we respond. It's about what we do, not about what the world throws at us. You can have a job that you absolutely love and you can be working all hours, and if that's the case, you won't be stressed. But if you hate your job or the task in hand, then guess what? You're going to be really stressed, and you need to find a solution. Life's not going to go away. We're going to have to manage this, people. So I hope you found this enormously helpful, and I hope you can apply some of these tips to your life to make it an awful lot better. So the moral of all of this is take a few moments for yourself. It doesn't matter what it is you enjoy doing, but you need to make yourself a priority. The whole of your life cannot be about stress and work. Just a few moments of that time to relax, to read a book, to maybe have a glass of wine or enjoy a meal with family and friends can change your whole perspective. It doesn't have to be some big intervention, but you do need to take some self-care because you're very important. I know it, and even if you don't know it, you really are. So I'm going to have some time for myself now with my chocolate and my wine, and Puddles has decided to join me too. So I hope you have enjoyed this little video. It's been a very serious subject up to now because burnout is no laughing matter, but there are things that we can do, and I hope this has helped give you some sense of taking control. So if this video has been helpful, please press the little like button and subscribe to my channel. I'm also blogging an awful lot about burnout and how to fix it on my website, brainybiscuit.com, and you can see my other hacks, hints and tips over on my Instagram, the Brainy Biscuit, and on my Facebook, the Brainy Biscuit. So for now, until next time, I'll see you very soon indeed. Take care.